Yeah, I am chartered accountant and a CPA, like you mentioned. And both my journeys have been really amazing, a lot of learning, but it's been a good experience overall.
So, Swati, can you tell us about your early days in finance? What initially drew you to this field?
To be very honest, I would say the hardships in life. So I started working at a very young age, at around 15, and I think I cleared my high school, and then I had to start working because we had a family to run and we had a lot of financial issues.
Your
There'll
goal.
be a lot of people telling you it's not possible.
I
I mean,
agree.
you'll hear it. You'll say they'll say it's been 10 years. You have a lot of gap. How will you do it? A lot of. I mean, you also have self doubt, right? Can you do it? But
Hi, Swati. Welcome to Narratives of Numbers. It's so exciting to have you in our show today. And for our audience, Swati, she's a chartered accountant from India and she's also done her CPA. So kudos to you on your accomplishment. She's currently working as a financial analyst in Texas City, based in USA. And me and Swati, we both have come a long way. She's really good friend of mine. We both have done our chartered accountancy internship back in Bangalore in NCA firm. And in today's interview, we'll focus, on Swati's CPA journey, her accomplishment, challenges. So I'm hoping that this episode will be really helpful for, our audience who are looking to pursue their career in CPA. And with that note, we'll just get started with the interview. Do you want to, give a brief intro or say something, Swati? Please go ahead.
first of all, thank you, Amrita. Thank you for having me. Um, I'm just really glad that you chose me and my story to be so inspiring and worth sharing with everyone. So I'm really grateful for that. Thank you so much. And
It's absolutely my pleasure.
I'm really glad to be here, and I'm really happy to share my experience and share my role or whatever I can do, to help people achieve their goals. So I'm really happy that I'm able to share my story with everyone. And yeah, I am chartered accountant and a CPA, like you mentioned, and both my journeys have been really amazing, a lot of learning, but it's been a good experience overall.
That is awesome. So, Swati, can you tell us about your early days in finance? What initially drew you to this field?
To be very honest, I would say the hardships in life. So I started working at a very young age, at around 15, and I think I cleared my high school, and then I had to start working because we had a family to run and we had a lot of financial issues. So I took a break in my career. I didn't. I was really confused. I mean, you're really young, you don't know what to do. So I took up anything that came my way, and the first job I got was as a receptionist with barely anything, barely any income. But it was good experience. And then I went on. There was a gap about a year, I think. I took a break in studying, and both me and my sister did odd jobs to be able to run the family and survive. And at that point, I didn't think I'll go back to studying. You don't know where life is taking you until you find a ray of hope, and you see, okay, you get a chance and you just grab that opportunity. So my sister, she got a good opportunity in a call center, and that's when she said, okay, if I really want to go back to studying and make up a career for myself, and she said, go ahead, do it. And then that's when I thought, okay, I'll go back to college, finish my education. And yeah, that's when I decided, okay, I could start with my 11th and 12th, but all colleges were closed, admissions were closed, and it was already late by the time we decided we were ready. And we looked, and luckily through a common friend, I got admission in one of the colleges. And that's where I started my commerce and accounting journey. And I did pretty well in my 11th and 12th. And I did odd jobs to pay the fees and everything, but that's where started my main journey in commerce and finance. I started loving accounting. I started loving numbers. I mean, until I took up the course, I didn't know where it was going. I mean, I just got lucky that the course I chose for myself was something that I wanted. And I just got lucky. And then I chose BCom. I mean, the next best opportunity, next best course was BCom. But I also gathered from the friends I was studying with that CA is one of the very best opportunities that's there for people in accounting and finance. At that point, I didn't know that CA is going to be easy, difficult. I didn't know. I just picked what's best for me, and I knew that CA could take me places, and it could help my family have a better life. And that's where I jumped into CA. And yeah, I've come a long way.
Wow, that was really, really very inspiring. Like, that your hardship, but ultimately, like, when your hardship pays you a good, you be happy when you see the final outcome. So,
Yes,
like, kudos to your journey on that.
thank you.
And Swati, can you walk us through a time like, what inspired you to pursue CPA?
So, see, I moved to the US after I got married, and I started looking for opportunities. I started looking for jobs on LinkedIn and multiple job portals. And everywhere I looked at, they were looking for a CPA or somebody who studied here, because people here know what courses are here. They're not very familiar with CA. Of course, they want you to know US GAAP, US taxation. They want you to know what's here to be able to, do better in the role they're choosing you for, right? And I realized that, if I took up CPA, that would help me get to where I'm going. Because after I moved to the US, I had about a 3 years gap, and I was clueless. I was like, no, I was always financially independent, and I've been taking care of myself and my family, and then suddenly it's all gone, you just have nothing, and then you're like clueless. You don't know what to do, what to take up. That's when I started looking online, and I said, okay, what is next for me? What can I do better so that an employer or a company picks me over somebody else? So that's when I said, okay, CPA is my way to my next career growth. That's where I picked up CPA as one of the, and also because um, it's easy on your pockets. I mean, I could say that because it's all self-study. I did go to an institute. They helped me with videos and material, but I studied on my own. I didn't really take any classes because, I mean, it's doable. You can prepare on your own independently. You can study. You don't really have to go to a college, or you don't need that. And yeah, so it all worked out easy for me.
That is amazing. So again, you chose a hard path, in order to again establish your career in USA, I would say.
I agree. And after 10 years, going back to studying wasn't easy.
I know it is definitely hard. I know because I did my master's. So I know like when you take a break, you go back and you start working, you think like, oh my, you can manage. But yeah, I mean, you can't stop learning.
I know.
So I
So
can
one thing
understand.
that I have learned through my journey is that it's your qualification is something that no one can take from you, right? You can make money, you can make anything you want, but it's your qualification that no one can take from you. You're
I
always growing,
absolutely,
you're
yeah.
learning. It's your own asset that it just keeps growing. You never lose anything by learning. That's what I feel.
I can't agree more. Like, what you said, it absolutely makes so much sense. Like, if you keep adding more like education or any kind of like, no one can take away that
Like no
from
one
you.
can take
That's
that from you.
that's
And
correct.
the more you share, the more it grows.
More you learn, like, yeah.
Yes.
So that's well said. So Swati, like, can you walk us through your CPA journey, like, particularly like your exam preparation strategy?
So I took about 12 months to prepare, and I took my time because I knew after 10 years, it's not going to be easy to just go back to studying and, spend continuous 5 hours. It's hard to concentrate because you've had a long break. But I took my time. I took my time on each subject. Of course, being a CA helped because, there are a lot of similarities, obviously, but you have to unlearn certain things and also learn more. For me, in terms of learning, tax regulation, it's called regulation, the subject, it was completely new because US taxation is completely different from what you learn. Apart from that, when it comes to auditing and FAR, it's almost similar. It's not going to, be a lot different, but you still have to give your time and commitment to it. So I made a plan and I stuck to it. So
Okay.
if I feel that even if you're giving it 2 hours of your time, just give it all in.
Okay. So what I have known, Swati, like you, like CPA has 4 exams, right? So
Correct.
did you had like any strategy, like, which you can suggest to our audience, like, let's take this particular exam first, and then maybe let's take that particular paper later on? Like, what was your strategy? If you can walk us a little bit about all 4 subjects, like how did you plan your day? So that can really help our audience who are planning to pursue, their CPA
I
career.
um I had so one thing that I was lucky was I had time with me, right? Because I wasn't working or I had nothing else to do, so I could plan and give it more time. I started with audit. So because I felt audit was the easiest among all 4 papers for me personally, and it worked out well because mostly whatever you've already learned and applied is what is here as well. So they test you basically on how well you know the concept. It's not like you're not going to get the same questions from what you're reading, right? They're going to see how well you know the concept and how you understand. So every time I read, I went wrong, I read again. I read where I went wrong and I corrected my mistakes. But the only thing I did different from my friends was I revised, because I revised again and again, because it's how much you retain and how much you can remember during the exam, because you can't tell from where you're going to get a question. It's not like I can't really tell which chapter is important. You can get it
Mhm.
from anywhere. It's not easy. I mean, you're not going to get ABC. It can be anything. All I kept revising. I kept I was committed to my goal, and that helped in a way. So I started with auditing. So one of the mistakes that I did was with audit was I didn't go through the entire exam pattern well.
Mhm.
I took it a little easy. And yeah, when I went to give the exam, I realized I could have done better. So I think I got the lowest in audit just because I wasn't 100% prepared. I didn't take mock exams. I just, I just went by what was right for me. And yeah, I guess I scored the lowest in audit, but every other exam went better because I learned from my previous exam what mistakes I made earlier. Yeah, I learned from that and did better every other paper. The
Okay.
toughest paper for me was BEC. I don't understand IT.
So, like, how
I
did
mean,
you do
it's
that
not my
paper?
thing.
Like, if you found, like, you found that subject really tough. So, how did you manage? What was your approach a little bit different? Like, this is going to be a tough paper for me. So, let's put more hour of revision.
So see, right now, some of the friends that I know, they are doing a full-time job and studying. For me, I could be flexible and I could give it time. For B's, that was the last paper I gave because I was least confident in that. And, and yeah, it took a lot. I mean, it took longer than the others. But one thing that I did was until I was like 80% ready, I would never book the exam. So you have to book the dates for the exam before you. So I never booked until I was 80% sure in any exam. I wanted to be sure that even if I've read just 80%, I know 100% of the 80%.
Okay.
Like I wasn't going to go easy on me. I was like, no, this is what I wanted. I'll do anything to get there.
Okay. And what was the toughest part? What you like, you felt like that's something which you did not enjoy. There's something particularly which you would like to share with audience so that like, they are more informed, like, how they can strategize.
So yeah, BC is the only thing you have to really memorize certain things, right? I mean, most of us, I think, don't like memorizing things. You want to know the concept and then apply it and what is asked. But EC is something where you had to memorize certain things. There was no way out. So all I could do is read, revise, read. That was the only thing that got me through the subject.
Okay. And did you follow any kind of like, I would say a planning way, like, every day, some kind of a routine, like I have to dedicate like
Yes.
say 2 hours every day, then 1 hour maybe on revision, let's focus on mock test. If you can just give us a quick tip for everyone, like it could be, I know like your situation was a little bit differently. A lot of people, they do take up their
They
exam along with their with their
full-time
work,
job.
so it's a little bit more challenging, but still I'm sure like your tips and advice would definitely be helpful for them if they can modify
So
those.
I made a plan. See, you always have a plan. You might not meet it 100%, but
Correct.
stick to it. Like even if you can't I mean, stick to it for 7 days a week, stick to it 5 days a week. And when you say if you can't give 5 hours a day, even if you can give 2 hours, make sure you do that consistently throughout the term that you've planned to give the exam. And what I say is until you're 80% ready, don't book the dates. I mean, don't.
Okay.
I mean, just be ready before you go to the exam, because with CA, you've learned that, once you don't clear CA final, I took it easy first attempt, and I didn't clear. And it puts you down. The better thing here is you can give one subject at a time. You don't need like if you compare with CA you have to give either 4 at a time or all 8 at a time. Here you have the choice to give your 100% to one subject and then move ahead. So when you have that luxury to just study one paper, give it all in. That's what I think.
Okay.
And revise as much as you can. That helps. It helps a lot. I didn't go too easy after every paper, I mean, after every chapter. So I did one, I revised. I did the second one, I revised. So, I mean, you have to be 100% sure of what you read.
Okay, yep, that makes sense because revision, like we have learned from our background, like because I'm also chartered accountant, so we know that revision plays a very, very important role, and that's the leverage which you mentioned in CPA that you have that leverage because you have to write one
Yeah,
exam at a time. So at
exactly.
least that's the advantage. Like you can 100% focus on one particular subject, and if you
Correct.
focus on revision, I'm sure like that's gonna help you in your
It will, I
exam
mean,
more
it'll help
better.
you retain things. That's what you need. Like if the question is asked from anywhere, if you have it in your memory, you can answer it all. I mean, there's no doubt.
And how much time would you suggest, Swati, like, to spend on mock tests? Like, when do you think, like, when you're 50% ready? What's your thought on that?
So I feel when you're going through a course like my institute, they gave me an option to take. So if I've done 4 chapters, I can take a mock only for the 4. I don't need to do all 7 or 6 wherever applicable. So you can, when you know you've done 4 chapters, take a mock then just for the 4. It'll help you know where you stand and how can you do better? That's what I think. I mean, that's the only mistake I did for audit. I didn't give a mock exam and I took it easy.
But I mean, yeah, you should not say like, at least you know, like, where you did go wrong, but still you were able to pass that exam. So, like, so
Yeah,
I think like there's nothing to feel bad about it.
yeah. I mean, I could have done better, but yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. But uh, moving a little bit more deeper into your again CPA exam preparation, Swati. So, what was the biggest challenge which you faced, while you were studying CPA, and how did you overcome those challenges?
So, I mean, moving to US looks all very nice and luxurious, and I mean, it looks all easy, but it's not. I mean, you're away from your family, you're away from friends, and suddenly, I mean, you're financially dependent, which you are never aware of. So it puts you down, you know. You have to keep pulling yourself up. I mean, there are chances where you get depressed. There are times where you want to, just give up everything and go back. It's not easy. I mean, of course, you have your partner. I mean, you have your family here. If you have your family, you're lucky. But yes, it's hard. It throws you off. And again, you don't know about anything about the visa. You're going to get it, not get it. And sometimes you start doubting, is it even worth it to give CPA if I don't get my visa? You're like,
Hmm.
what am I doing? If I have to sit at home, why do I have to study? You have so many questions. Like, but I chose this for myself. And one thing I've learned that is if you've, taken up something, make sure you finish it. Don't leave anything halfway.
Yep, definitely. So, what I understand from your journey that for you, preparing for CPA was not challenging, but there were other multiple factors like, your visa situation, away from family. So, like,
It's
audience,
hard.
those also plays a very, very important role that in spite of you'll always be surrounded by different challenges. But when, as Swati mentioned, like if you have decided to accomplish something, just stay motivated, just stay positive, and I'm sure you'll be able to achieve your
There'll
goal.
be a lot of people telling you it's not possible.
I
I mean,
agree.
you'll hear it. They'll say it's been 10 years. You have a lot of gap. How will you do it? A lot of, I mean, you also have self-doubt, right? Can you do it? But you have to overcome all that to be able to know what you can achieve and never forget how far you've come. Just be proud of yourself and keep expecting more from yourself, because we always expect from others and get disappointed saying, oh, he didn't do this for me, or my friends didn't do this, or my family didn't, I mean, meet my expectations. But how much are you expecting from yourself is what matters, right? I mean, it can
Absolutely.
take you far if you keep expecting more and more from yourself and see where you can go.
So how did you manage Swati? Like, when there were so many multiple factors which were affecting you during that time. So what was few things which comes to your mind that really motivated you and that helped you in accomplishing your goal?
Honestly, I mean, it has been hard, but I mean, it's off topic, off subject, but fitness helped me. Honestly, I mean, it can do magic. I'm not saying you have to study, 24 hours. You don't need to do that. But there are certain things that can help bring positivity in you. You know, for me, exercise was one of them. I still enjoy it, not to lose weight or to look a certain way, but the way it impacts my mind and body, and it keeps me active the rest of the day to be able to prepare for my day. Yeah, you have been a great inspiration. But
Amazing. I mean, you just made my day more happy, Swati, talking about fitness because I'm the one who can talk anytime about fitness all the time. But yeah, I think that's a really useful point which you mentioned, to our audience that if you take up some, difficult exam, just don't keep focusing on study. You have to focus on your health because your mental health, your physical health, everything really helps you in balancing out your overall journey.
correct. I did dancing. I did everything that could keep me, occupied. And keep me busy, keep me positive, interact with people. I mean, I'm not very good at socializing. I can't socialize, but I try. I mean, anything that can bring positivity. But fitness is one thing that has helped me a long way. I can
That
I
is
can tell you that, yes.
that is awesome. So watch out, audience. So make sure you focus on your fitness when you're planning to take up your CPA exam. You already talked about your mistake, but I would still ask, like, did you think, like, apart from your audit mistake, like where you just pointed out that you forgot to take your mock test, so is there any other mistake which you faced during your CPA exam preparation, which you think that our audience should be really really careful that they should not repeat it?
No, I think you just stick to your plan. That's all I could say. Just stick to your plan. Don't deviate. I mean, you have a life. You want to social. You want to get out. You want to have fun. Do everything. But you know, when you say you're going to give 2 hours of your time for studying, give that. You can do everything else. I didn't stop. I traveled. I did everything I could. I never studied on weekends because I want to spend some time with my partner. I can't, give all my time just to study. It's not possible. I mean, just be,
Just be realistic, like you
yeah,
cannot just make
it's
your
not
life more.
possible. You
Yeah.
can't, you can't just keep studying. It's not gonna. I mean, yeah, we did that back in our CA days, but now it's not realistic. You have to enjoy life as well.
Yep, that I completely agree. So, just changing topic a little bit more, like in different direction. Like you are a CA from India, and you've also done CPA, so you're a right person to do some kind of a comparison. Like how did you feel like these two examination? If you can give a comparison in terms of content, the difficulty and your overall experience. Like that will be really insightful for our audience.
To be very honest, CA is the toughest exam I've given so far. It's been really. I mean, I think I took about 3 attempts to give my final. It was hard. I almost gave up. I'm like, it's not going to happen. But CA has been tough. I mean, you know it as much as I do. When you compare with your CA journey, CPA is I wouldn't say easy, but it's doable. It's very much achievable, and you have that luxury of giving one subject at a time, and you have 18 months to clear the rest. So you have all the time to plan and do everything else along with your studying. You don't have to give up on on your life, on everything else, and just focus on studying. You can plan it so well and still be able to do it.
Can you also talk a little bit about like how much time you took to complete your CA and CPA, so that people who are looking to pursue their career, they can have more better information about it?
CPA, I took about 12 months. Um, I mean, I split it. It depends on each subject. I took about 2 months for one subject, but 3 months for another. So, I mean, I planned it based on the topics I have, and based on how I assessed that how much time I would take on each subject. Um, so it took me about 12 months. I think it's very much doable within 12 months. But if there's someone else who takes longer, there's nothing wrong about that. Just make sure you, even if you're taking longer, make sure you're ready to give the exam before you even decide to give the exam. Just be prepared before you want to go and take the test. I mean, for the first two papers, I could give it in my city. I live in a small town, so I could give it in my city, but for the rest, I had to travel about 2 hours, and then my husband had to wait with me for about 5 hours and then drive back. So
Yeah, that
yeah,
must be
so I
hard.
wasn't lucky on that. Yeah. And I wasn't ready to drive by myself. I'm still scared though. I'm learning, but I wasn't ready to go on my own.
Okay, and
But
how about? Mhm.
when you compare it with CA, it's definitely one of the toughest exams that I've given. I took it easy the first two levels. I mean, I was young and when I did my 12th and BCom really well, I scored really well. I thought, okay, CA is going to be as easy as that. When you're doing 100, why not here? Like, oh, you're doing so well. It gets into your head. I mean, just being honest, it gets into your head. You'll be like, yeah, it's a cakewalk for me. I can do it. And then I did the first level. I got through, and second was also easy. But when I came to final, the first attempt, since I cleared the first two levels, you know, in first attempt, I was like, yeah, it's not a big deal. I studied for about 2 months, maybe. And I was like, I'm ready. I can give the exam. And when I saw the results, I was like, no, I'm not ready. It takes a lot more. It takes a lot more. Yeah.
So do you think
But
like those were like some mistakes which you think like maybe you should have corrected during those time and maybe that would have helped you, right? Because it sometimes happens. Even I do sometimes think like, maybe I would have done, but sometimes when you're young and you don't get enough of mentorship, that is where like, you're not able to do certain things, take decision in a right direction.
that's true. Yeah. I've mostly studied on my own. Yeah. I did go to coaching. I did take coaching. But most of the time I studied on my own, even with CPA. Yeah, I'm not, like I mentioned, I'm not a very social person. I don't really go and, ask for help. But that's one of the mistakes I did. If you're stuck at something, please go ask for help. I just got lucky. I have a friend here who's also doing CPA, so who helped me a lot in telling me how the format of the paper is, and it really helps. So talk to people, don't just be by yourself. It helps when you talk and ask questions. It really helps. Don't do things that I did. That's what I would say.
Awesome.
Although you can do it by yourself, it's all possible, but ask for help when you need it.
Yeah, and I agree that in the current market situation where there's so much information which is available on social media, like, there's so many people you can network and you can ask information, then why to suffer alone, right? That is
That's true.
where our interview, it's going to play a really important role. With a click of button, you can see
Okay.
someone's journey and you
Yes,
can know like what are
yes,
the do's and don'ts, and you can just simply learn from their journey. It's not like
that's true.
everyone's journey is going to be the same. It's going to be unique for every person. But yeah,
That's
I
true.
agree to that. I myself have seen like, when you interact with different people, you always, out of five, you learn something, out of every
I
person who
agree.
you meet.
That's true.
Anything else which you would like to add on, Swati, a comparison between CA and CPA? Any
So,
other aspect which kind of stood out in your mind, like, when you were preparing your CPA?
what I would say is there are a lot of people here in the US who don't have a work permit, or who don't have the visa, or they're not finding sponsors, who can sponsor the visa. But that should not pull you down. All I feel is keep going, keep trying to study, or take up anything that will add value to your, CV, or that is going to be different, that employers, they choose you over somebody else. There's no end to learning. You keep learning, because what I heard, what I did not know when I was waiting for my work permit, was there are voluntary jobs, there are internships. Of course, they're unpaid, but you still get to go to work, you get to learn. There are a lot of opportunities that we don't see. It's right in front of you. All you have to do is ask, like what you are doing. Ask people. You will know what opportunities are there out for you. you know just go and take up anything that will help you, lift. Anything that will help you, grow in your career. It doesn't have to be a paid job or a sponsor. Maybe eventually, once you get that experience from your internship or doing anything voluntary, it might help you get a job or get a sponsor. You never know what helps. Just don't stop trying, is what I feel.
I think this is a very useful advice, Swati, because I also, when I moved to US, the journey is always challenging because you don't know much people, right? You have to start
Exactly.
everything from scratch. So what Swati mentioned, I completely agree that you have to bring yourself out and you have to meet people, and you have to understand, like, as she mentioned, like, in case if you have a sponsorship issue that you can't work, at least you can do some kind of a volunteer work, because that's going to keep you engaged. Maybe you'll not get paid, but that's going to help you to understand how the US market functions. You can understand
Correct.
the work culture, you can know the people, and ultimately you feel valued, right? That you are
Uh,
doing something out of your career, you're learning, and maybe once
Exactly.
you get sponsorship, then you feel more confident. By the time you'll be more like, that everything. It's just that you
You
need to figure out in which direction you have to keep
correct.
moving ahead. So yeah, that's a very useful information, Swati.
One thing I did was I didn't try to go out there and try to know more CAs or CPAs out here. There are many platforms where you can go, like what you're starting right now. I mean, all that we have to do is make an effort and try to interact with people. You never know what comes your way.
Yep. And when someone reaches out to you, I think you should be able to at least talk to that person. Like same thing with which happened with me. Like, I remember like, someone reached out to me and they said there's a CA community out there, which I didn't knew when I was in Boston. And then I felt good. I was like, yeah, why not? Let's just go and connect and then take a decision whether you think that's going to be helpful for you or not, because every person and individual is different. But trust me, I can vouch that on my interview today, that being a board member of like ICI Seattle chapter, that has given me so much of learning. In fact, like New England chapter, I was a member there, and it has given me an amazing level of professional network, which has helped me, in fact, to come up with this idea of doing narratives of numbers. What unique challenge and opportunity, again, like each qualification offer, if you think like if there's something which you would like to add?
So, um, I mean, the degree itself has so much value. When you just go and tell people you're a CA or a CPA, the way they look at you is so different. You already know what value each qualification has. And that's what I felt the moment I became a chartered accountant. The way people look at you, they expect, they already know so much, you're bringing so much into, into any job that you're going to take up or whatever you're going to do. And it has, I mean, I'm really proud of both my journey. I mean, that's all I say. Be proud of where you've reached. It's some. I mean, it's something that you wanted so many years ago, and you have it. But yeah, my 8 years of work experience in India, plus my internship during CA, has helped me so much. I've learned so much. You have no idea. I've learned so much over my 8 years of my professional experience that I didn't. It was so easy for me to apply it here. It's not different. You're applying the same skill, same knowledge, but their expectations and the way they need certain things here are different, of course. But it really helps. Whatever you've learned and your experience is valued everywhere. I just needed my CPA for them to be able to see what I can bring to the company, but they already know what you already have. Then, I mean, it's my role as a financial analyst. I know how I review numbers, and I know how to. It's already there. You've already learned. I mean, maybe more from your experience than from the books, but it's already there. You just have to apply it in your job or wherever you go.
Do you think like CPA journey became more easy for you because since you had already done your chartered accountancy back in India?
Yes, yes. When it comes to certain subjects, it has been really easy, like for audit or FAR. But there are certain things that you have to unlearn because US GAAP is different from what we do back in India. But it's very similar. It is definitely easier. Again, it needs more of willpower. That's what I feel. Willpower and commitment. That's all you need. It's not impossible. It's doable.
Okay, so
But
what
the
I
only
understand.
challenging thing is you have to score a 75 to clear each paper, right? That's one thing which you need to know. You need a 75. It's not a 40 or a 50. You have to get a 75 to clear each paper. So you need to know everything in the book. There's nothing
Okay.
that you can't know.
So your suggestion is there's no shortcut, is like
There's no
you have
shortcut.
to
At
make sure you
least,
have to cover all the topics, because the
yes,
passing criteria is really high
yes,
in
I.
CPA. So that is what is like people like audience need to watch out.
Yeah.
Awesome, Swati. So I think like my next question would be like, do you think like your CPA qualification like helped you, in your US job market? Did you notice a significant increase in your opportunity or responses when you started applying for jobs?
There's no doubt about that. My company, the one I'm working for, they've been really good, but they waited for me for 4 months to join. They they said, I mean, I was so hesitant that I told them, I said, my work permit was taking longer than what I planned. I mean, I was hoping to get it earlier, but it took time. But they were willing to wait. They waited 4 months. I was surprised. I kept, I mean, I kept in touch with them. I told them, it's going to take longer. I'm really sorry. If you want to go for somebody else, I understand. That's what I told them. I told them that every month because I wasn't sure when I was going to get my work permit, but they waited. So that's what your
Wow.
CA experience and your CPA brings to you. I mean, all that's all I can say.
That
People
is
wait for you to join.
that is really, really amazing. Like, that's you really feel valued, right? So because someone is
Yeah.
waiting for you for 4 months, that is something really big. So yeah, I always like I've been congratulating. So kudos to your journey. I'm sure like
Thank
you
you.
must be feeling so proud and happy about that. So we are moving now to a final segment of the interview. Could you
Mhm.
share, Swati, your job search process like post completing CPA, and what advice would you give to aspiring CPAs who are currently in the job hunt? Like, any specific strategies which you like, you had in your mind when you cleared your CPA, what worked, what didn't work?
So I started my CPA journey with the job opportunity. So I started looking for job opportunities before I took up CPA to see what the employer is looking for, what are the companies looking for, what kind of qualifications do they need to be able to land the job. So I did my research and then took up the course that will add value to my CV to be able to get a job. But yeah, I've used LinkedIn, I've used every other job site. I mean, I've done rigorous search. I mean, because you first I wanted to go through, I wanted a sponsor. That's what I was looking for. But unfortunately, I got a lot of jobs, but they were not willing to sponsor. You know, accounting and finance is not revenue generating, so a lot of people hesitate because they have to put in a lot of money into getting a sponsorship, and they have to justify why you are better than somebody here locally, right? So some of the companies were not willing to do that, and that's where I hit a lag. I couldn't get a job immediately. I couldn't find a sponsor. And then the moment I said I'm starting to apply for my work permit, which was H4 EAD, that's when I got a lot of calls, a lot of opportunities. While I mean, during the 4 month wait period, I had two more, job interviews lined up. But I said no because this company was willing to wait for me for 4 months. So I didn't want to try anywhere else. There were a lot of people who convinced me, that their role is better than the one I've applied for, but I didn't want to lose the job I had. So yeah, so I applied for this, the company I'm working for, PV Materials. I applied for this job when I was looking for a sponsor. It's a pretty good company. And then I went to India. I was actually feeling bad that I may not get the job, but I think what is meant for you will make its way to you.
That's wonderful. So are you enjoying your current role, Swati?
Yes, yes, I am. I am. I mean, it's been really good. It's been 7 months, and all that I've done is learned, and I hope I'm adding value to, I'm justifying my role.
Absolutely. If they waited for you for 4 months, I'm sure they must be really lucky and happy to have you on board.
Yeah, they've always said that, so I'm really glad to be working with them.
That is great.
I mean, with your CPA, CA comes respect. You just earn it. I mean, it just comes your way. So all I say is never give up on yourself. Just keep trying. Things are going to work out.
Well said. So I think we have almost wrapped up our interview, Swati. Like, do you have any final thought or message or advice for our audience, who are aspiring to have their career as a CPS?
First of all, I would say your journey has been really inspiring too. So, I mean, you should start with your journey and tell us how it all went. I would look forward to that video as well whenever you decide to upload it. And also, thank you for this opportunity. And yeah, I would say believe in yourself. Everything is achievable only if you have the willpower and commitment to do it. And like I said, is your qualification against your name that no one can take from you. Nobody can. It's all yours. And it's something to be proud of and just be happy about.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And thank you, Swati, for appreciating my journey. I'm sure someday I will share. I'm hoping someone should come and interview me as well. And I'll be really happy to talk, about my journey, my
I think
challenges.
yours should be the first journey that you have to upload before anybody else. I think it's been really inspiring. I mean, how you've changed, how you've grown, it's really been inspiring.
Thank you, Swati.
Thank you so much, Amrita.